Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
Don't be alarmed. The quasi-shimmering light before you is a trans-dimensional gateway to other worlds, other voices, other thoughts, and other realities. Up feels like down, and down feels like the number 7 on a Wednesday morning. Don't worry. That quivering, blood-boiling sensation under your eyebrows is all a part of the charm. Welcome to the PCC Multiverse.
And we're back for the best and worst of pop culture in 2024. It is Gerald Glassford for the Pop Culture Cosmos, along with two awesome individuals indeed. They are the masterminds behind Vampires of Vitae and so much more. It is, of course, Melinda and Robbie Ross. How are you, kids?
Good. How are you? Are you ready for Santa?
Never ready enough for Santa. I'll just say that. Have you two recovered from the Melinda birthday party? That's what I want.
No.
Oh, no. It was only your calming presence that got us through the evening in the first place.
True.
It meant the world to see you, man.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well,
It was
you know
the first
what?
surprise party I've had in my entire life, and I was blown away. I had absolutely no idea.
You did? Okay. Because I saw you're coming into the restaurant. Okay. First off, all right. This is where we smack the Robbie Ross around here a little bit. Okay,
Sure.
so your husband a couple weeks beforehand, he invites me, and of course I say, sure, yeah. I was like, we'll definitely stop by. Absolutely. Give me the address. Where are you going to be at? Oh, yes, it's at the Applebee's in Henderson. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah, no problem. All right. Sounds good. I know where that is. Absolutely. So I head there, driving. All right.
Yep.
Feeling good. Gonna say hi to my friend. All right. Give her a present. All is good. Stop right there in the middle of the parking lot. And what did you know? It's being renovated.
Oh, 100%.
Hey!
Yes. So yeah, so I'm like, okay, that's weird. Did they cancel the party and not tell me? I'm gonna have to find out. So I text Robbie. Actually, I tried to call Robbie, and he's like whispering.
Oh, my God. In this kitchen.
Yes. I can't really talk to you now. I forgot to put you on the new party list. Oh, the text chain. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Gerald. All right, it's near the airport. Oh, okay, I know where that is. All right, no problem. So I get there. Yes, absolutely. I go, Robbie, I'm here. Okay, that's good. I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Because you know that you two are the last ones there, and everybody else is there. I finally got to see Roger. Met some nice people while I'm there. I guess we had it almost separated between the D&D folks and the LARP folks.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how
It was a very unexpected collision of the two worlds, that's for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. But it was great to see both of you. I'm glad you had a lot of fun. You were overwhelmed, to say the least, when I saw you, Melinda. So
I've never experienced a surprise party before. So to have one happen, and I mean, like, I was like having one of those days where I was like, maybe we should just stay in and order in some takeout or something.
Yeah, I had to fight against that.
Yeah,
too.
I was like, maybe we should just do something. You know, I mean, it's gonna be low key anyways. I didn't bother putting makeup on because we were with the moms and we were just going to Applebee's. So
yeah, trying to get her to get dressed up was a lot of fun. I was like, this is what I'm wearing. You want to match? Or
I'm like, what's wrong with my pajamas? It's Applebee's.
you know, something for the people at home. Like, we've all had a relationship for going on like 5 years, 4 years.
No, more than that.
I mean, like, yeah, close to 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Like that, since we've been in the world of the wonderful Gerald and his Pop Culture Cosmos and other D&D games that used to lead into it. But me and Gerald have only met twice. And both times I was at my most possible manic. like at my wife's birthday party, I finally get to see, thank you so much for coming. Here's like 20,000 other people I gotta go talk to. Oh my God. And then the other time that you came to my house, the one time I was like in between a job, running a game, and like so.
I mean, you were chasing dogs around the house too for 6
Yeah,
months.
yeah. Yeah. So the very few moments I've had to spend in your actual presence has been huge stories surrounding all of them, and I cannot wait for just one day to have coffee with you, sir.
Absolutely. We got to plan it. Indeed. I would be looking forward to it. I'm immensely grateful for you, both of you, being such a great part of what I do. Yeah, you can count on. We're going to go ahead and meet up and have a day where we could just relax with nothing manic in
Yes.
mind. I'll
Yes.
put that for you as well. You know, of course, the 500th episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos is still 70, 68. No. 50, no, 68 weeks away. So we'll have to
So
do
a
well.
little over 2 years until we all get the astronaut tattoo. Hey,
Think so. Yes. Yes.
I'll start saving now.
Yes. That sounds. I'll see like again the person who gave me this and that gave me the one on my shoulder. I think I'll ask. See if he give us a cut rate deal, or he'll be there live. That's one thing I'm planning to do because I want to run it right there at Retro City Games, our long supporter of this show, and definitely want to do it from there and see if he'll do a house call and give out video game tattoos or something like that. So we'll
This
see.
could be
That'd be
fun.
actually
Yeah.
kind of cool. Community project.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
neat.
That's fun.
There you go. Just a bit. I got many weeks to talk about. Of course, I won't think about it for a while. Then at the last minute, oh, let's do this.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 weeks
So we
to
go
2 weeks to 500, and now we're making plans. That sounds
just so we
very
can
us,
get,
though.
just so we can go and have Robbie become manic again. But it's great to have you both here. It is that time of the year when we talk about the best and worst of pop culture for 2024. This hour is for you both. So I hope you have your lists ready for both what you liked and didn't like for this year. Again, I'm going to hit all the entire staff as far as being able to go ahead and share their thoughts as far as what worked and what didn't work for them this year. But I'm going to go ahead with you two right now. So we can take as much time as you need for this hour to go ahead and explain why you liked and didn't like certain things in the world of pop culture for 2024. So with that, I will let you two start and get this underway.
Can I start with the easiest basket?
Of course.
Let's talk about some Deadpool. Universal uniting of all nerddoms into one thing. We have not forgotten the formula. It can be written again. You can make entertainment that is purely entertainment. We've seen Ryan and Hugh smile for the camera and give the audience so much of, I cannot say the quote, but here we blank go is the definition of something that is way on the fringe, because Deadpool used to be so on the fringe.
That's true.
That has united an entire populace of a nerd canon. It is something we can all hang our hats on, a banner that we can all enjoy. And it's just nice to have at least one communal awesome, one bomb.
One shining moment. Yeah.
That like almost no one disagreed with. Like, that's so cool in the nerddom. Like, often you're like, oh, I really like this, or I really hate that. Like for me, the capsulization of the year was Deadpool. It's the only thing that you could go to the water cooler of, and you could talk to a 70-year-old woman that has like 8 grandkids, and you can talk to the 18-year-old kid coming up on the world. Like, everyone just had a great smiling effect because of it. So if we're talking about the end of the year, something that we all can talk about, that's at least something we can all talk about positively.
So let me ask you, Melinda, what, like Robbie, we obviously, it translated so well to him. Deadpool and Wolverine earned over $1.3 billion at the box office. What translated it so well to you as far as one of the things that you both are so in agreement on as far as it being the best of pop culture in 2024?
Well, I think that the I don't know how to put it so it's not bleepable. Let's put it this way: the devil may care attitude of Ryan Reynolds
Sure.
I think is part of the magic of Deadpool. I think he's been playing Deadpool since he became an actor. If you want to go back to look at like Van Wilder, tell me that there's not threads of Deadpool through that movie. If you want to go back and look at even like The Proposal that he did with Sandra Bullock, there's moments in there where you're like, oh, there's the precursor.
Waiting, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of that stuff. So
be very nice to your waiter and waitress.
Yeah, always. Yeah, there are a few lessons in that movie.
If Fight Club taught us anything, don't be mean to the people that serve you food.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, buddy. Yeah. And never get the clam chowder.
Right. But no, I think that that's a lot of the magic of Deadpool, and I like that. You know, much like we've seen Henry Cavill kind of stand up for the projects that he works on. You know, Ryan is very protective of the IP. He approaches it the way that he wants to. And I feel like he's probably eventually going to have to release a string of like bad movies because he's going to have made so many deals to get the Deadpool movies done the way that he wants. So that's just a
secret handshake.
Yeah. That's a bit of an expectation that I have now, is that maybe next year it's just going to be like bad romantic comedy rom-com movies. Yeah, like he's gonna go back into that for a couple of movies. But no, I think that is really what we find so endearing about the Deadpool character, is also why we find Ryan Reynolds so endearing. It's because they're keeping the project as pure as possible. And as pure as possible, I don't mean saintly, I mean as true to the comic and Deadpool and what the fans expect as he can get it. And I think that that's such a huge piece of the success. And really, we're all privy at this point to that genuine friendship between him and Hugh Jackman. So the ability to see Deadpool and Wolverine on the screen and understand that they really do have that kind of like real, and I'm gonna say it, they have that real bromance in real life. And I think that all of that adds up to just a whole lot of success and people just really enjoying watching the movie.
Yeah, getting to see the genuineness of the relationship is part of the reward for all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't fake truth, right? We can try to hold a mirror up to it, but when we actually see two guys getting along and having a buddy cop film, essentially, you know what I mean, like, because they are good friends. I mean, like, you're looking at the same kind of thing with Bad Boys, you know, before Martin Lawrence with the stroke, you know what I mean? Like, there is a genuine love, there is a genuine companionship in between the two guys, and I do think that all it did was shine through on the cinema.
I think that it was a great success. I think that it helped revitalize people's interest in superhero movies, but we'll see if it gets parlayed into something more substantial. 2025 will be a very important year for Marvel. It has several projects still on the docket that they're going to release, and I think a key to that, to the success, if they have it in 2025, a lot of it's due to Deadpool and Wolverine. Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely indeed. So what else do you guys have on your list for the best of pop culture for 2024?
Trying to think of what else were really big standout moments for me. I mean, I have my big not great mention, which is actually kind of heartbreaking that I have to have it on the not great list. But you know, the updates that Diablo IV has put out. We haven't spoken to Robbie about what happened to him.
Devastated, man.
We still haven't gone back to play the game, by the way.
You know what, which is actually really sad.
Yeah.
Because, like,
hours.
I mean, like, so, like, I know we're in the pop culture cosmos, but I do try to make as a husband of also a nerd queen that does have her card passed, you know what I mean? Like, I don't exactly get in trouble for playing video games, you know what I mean? Like, there's an understanding there, but I also try to make sure that doesn't become too much of my existence. So when I put in time to a video game, when I do take those hours to play something, it matters to me. And just the release of the new content to take your character, and it takes forever to get to a level of 100. I had a level 87 character reduced back to 50. All my equipment undone.
All downgraded.
All my secret little pieces that made my character special were no longer special. And I didn't even buy your new game. I was just playing the game that you already released to me that I paid for. And for some reason, for you to snuff out we're talking about 100 hours of rare hours. That's when she's asleep, and I'm still up, and maybe, so we'll turn off the TV and I'll put on a video game, play for an hour or whatever have you. Those were hard found hours. And it sucks that such a cool game that got me so into it just didn't think about the casual gamer. They only thought about who was picking up their next product and how to balance their next product.
At least that's how it seems. And and for us to just have not gone back to it. I mean, it's been months at this point. I mean, we both had characters that we were really happy about. We had things like
you were at 67.
We had things vibing right. Everything was working the way that it should. The storyline was great. And then they just came in with a magic wand and booped us both on the head, and now we don't want to play anymore. I'm gonna take my ball and go home.
Yeah.
I know how frustrated you were when you initially talked about it, about how egregious an error it was for Blizzard to go ahead and come out with that update, taking all those levels and taking away a lot of what the progress that you had made to get there, the hard work, and as far as video game playing is concerned, that an effort, that time that you committed to into doing that. So I know that it was really rough for you both to go through that, especially because how excited you were, especially you, Melinda. You had said on the show how excited you were for Diablo IV, and I was, I remember in Vancouver, I was photographing you, the upcoming posters and the bus stop. Yeah, you were so excited. It was one of the premier releases of that time, and I guess your overall response is you liked it, but maybe not as much as you wanted to like it, but you were growing into it, you were getting into it, and it started to become what the game that you wanted it to be. Right. And all of a sudden they pulled out the rug from under you. And I noticed again, now you've told me about what Robbie's reaction was, and I noticed the frustration of both of you when it comes to Diablo 4. What can they do to make it right?
Give me back give back the levels that they took away. Give back the gear that, I mean, there was even stuff that you had that you had made.
Oh yeah, that doesn't work.
Like he figured out how to craft items, and I mean, menu after menu after menu before you get to even that screen. Yeah. So we had stuff that was crafted that we had made. Yeah, and it was just all gone.
If I was going to be really nitpicky on it, so what happened is there was a larger update that did cost a substantial amount of money. It was a $40 update, right? Sorry, for a $48 update to get the next part of the expansion. So had I signed up and spent that $40 to get that expansion, me going back in level wouldn't have been a problem. The problem is that I couldn't play that expansion, but I could no longer play my level 87 character. So they just
and the part of the map that you were in, you had to be over level 85. So you would it was just like death over and over and over again because you're stuck.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just what they did is they didn't allow me to buy the game. If I wanted to continue to play the game at any kind of enjoyable level, because it is an online game, it was like either you buy this and go up this way, or your original $68 really doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It was really it was just disappointing, and it was unexpected. And I guess maybe it shouldn't have been, because I can remember when they did the preview weekend where they were testing their servers and all of that stuff, and they were kind of fixing things as people discovered problems and all of that. I can remember hearing about people grumbling about stuff, and I was like, well, that doesn't seem like that big of a deal. And then this upgrade happens, and I was like, we lost 30 something levels.
Yeah, and
what?
And in late game stuff, that's like 100 fucking hours. My apologies for the curse. That's like a lot of hours. You know what I mean? So you're sitting there grinding, doing repetitive missions, but because you have such a charge for what you've made, It feels important, like you can justify to yourself, okay, cool, I'm doing this cool thing for myself. That's fine. But when it just is taken away naturally and you can't even join the next part of the story, if I can't join the next part of the story without adding more money, why did you take away my level? Why did you nerf my gear? Why did you change all the ways that my character plays? Like all my points no longer worked with their new matrix. And I wasn't playing somebody else's cookie cutter, here's a cool way to make here's a cool way to make your character. One of the cool things about Diablo is that every character is completely different. This is the kind of gear I want. This is the kind of skills I want. This is how I'm going to attack the game. If you in just one day decide to reset the matrix, that means all of that work, all of those jewels, all of those points, they don't mean anything anymore. And I didn't purchase your new game. I didn't say, yes, I want to play your new game. The game I already purchased, you just changed. That was really the problem with it.
And that's what made it truly a terrible experience for you both. And I can totally understand why you still continue to be upset about that. And I'm hoping that Blizzard, again, will try to make amends in some form or fashion. I'm surprised there was, in these days and ages, that somebody didn't apply legal action or something of that nature. Because we quite often see that in out there that somebody gets egregiously wronged in the video game world, they can go ahead and seek action and seek some type of recourse. What was the community's reaction like for that in regards to what happened? Was it something that did a lot of other players get a lot of stuff taken away too?
I think that the people that would have a strong opinion are also the people that were forking over the $45 or buying the pre-new expansion, or so anyone that was going to have a problem with it already had bought the new content. Like not all of us that really care about the video games has that $40 extra every, what I mean? Like just on hand, what I mean? The reason we didn't buy it is because we just moved into a new house. The $40, what I mean? Like was better spent.
Yeah. On damage deposit.
Yeah. Right. Fixing a sink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think that if the natural gameplay would have happened, which anyone that would have had issue with that cares about the product so much, just bought the expansion. So they never got to be like, what's it like playing without the expansion? It's just all the people that didn't have the cash on hand, because if we had the extra $40 that I could just blow, we would have just blown it, and then I wouldn't have had one problem, because there is no problem going into the next game. The only problem is if you're not able to follow where they've gone, why did you ruin the thing that the person can't follow with? Just leave that part alone. Because I was willing to play your old version that is supposed to still be able to play without any problem. If you just would have left it alone and kept my character, I'd still get another 80 hours out of the game without having to buy the new expansion.
And I can even see, because when they do their seasons and stuff, you can decide to join the season or not. It should have been some kind of option like that. I don't know. There just should have been a way for people to keep that time that they put into stuff. God, we sound like babies.
We sure do, man.
Nitpicky. The video game ruined my experience.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah, but no, it really was upsetting. And it was upsetting because of the amount of time. And the inability to have any, line of like what happened, like why was that even necessary? Why did you have to nerf my character in order for the new downloadable content to work? Why is that? Why does A and B equal C? Because to me, it didn't add up properly. It just didn't seem like it made a whole lot of sense. But I also don't really know a whole lot about video game development. So maybe just hitting the select all button and then pushing the downloadable content onto everybody and forcing those character fixes, I guess. Sure. Maybe that was the correct way for the game to be able to continue to work. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. And as far as I know, they've never said anything about it.
Yeah, it was never addressed. By the way, we're not the only ones with this comment, but it's never been addressed in the larger community.
Weird.
Yeah, but I'll give you an example to pivot slightly of another video game that I feel did the exact same thing but did it correctly, which would be Baldur's Gate. So Baldur's Gate had 3 very, very independent places to go, right? Like Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. And every single one of those acts felt like a brand new video game. You know, like it's kind of like your stats almost got reset because you had all these new challenges. You had, you know, like your combatants were becoming more and more complicated. So you would have to change literally within a party of, I think that you got an option of 12 eventually, breaking it down to an actual playable party of 5. They did be like, your progress doesn't matter until you learn this next structure. And I think they did it outrageously successfully because you were because you were at the point of being like, do I want to go further?
Right.
I mean, like, or you can go back and just explore the world back, because you will have to change and make choices in real life game mechanical things to completely and utterly change your play style to, for example, survive in hell. You know what I mean? Like, that's a whole nother play set. That's a whole nother. So you're like, I've done all this work trying to get this, you know, stuff. It had a real game explanation, a real game in time reason to get rid of all of your gear, to redo all of your stats, you know, and I didn't feel like I was being punished to change my strategies. Here, I felt like I was, in Diablo, I felt like I was just being punished for not buying the new game.
So hopefully, like you said, the video game developers will learn from their mistakes and such as this, and be able to provide consumers something a little bit better, more substantial. But I'm hoping that things will work out. That as far as your bad experience in, of course, Diablo 4 will mean a good experience somewhere else in the video game world. So I'm hoping this won't deter you from video games altogether.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I can't wait to play Space Marine 2. It's not like I know I'm going to get that for a Christmas gift, but I'd be mad at Santa if he doesn't show up.
Oh, no.
Oh, there you go. All right. All right, indeed. But I'm just happy for that you both could go ahead and express some of your best and worst so far. Truly appreciate you stopping by. Once again, it is Melinda and Robbie Ross. Of course, such great forces behind the pop culture cosmos. It is the best and worst of pop culture in 2024. It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. So what else do you have on your list for the naughty and nice?
Let's go TV.
Well, actually, I was going to go music.
Oh.
I discovered
something you are very familiar with as far as
I discovered an artist earlier this year, actually maybe in the summer. I don't know if you showed me him or not. Could be. Anyway, he's a rapper. Is that what you would call him?
Yes, I would consider.
Is that what you would consider him a rapper? Okay. And he's called Prof, short for professor, just Prof. And his his vernacular is very funny. I think it's almost nerd centric the way that he delivers stuff. The way that he writes his music and stuff like that. There's just unexpected twists in his wordplay, and it's really interesting. There's something about it that feels really fresh and really different. And he has 3 or 4 albums out at this point, I think. So he's not a new artist. He's a new artist to Robbie and I. We kind of discovered him this year, and we've been a little bit obsessed to the point where it ended up on our Spotify Wrapped list. We were like in the top 7% of the world who listened to his music or something. But no, he's really, really great. And he's up and coming, and he actually is acting now. He just got a part in a horror movie. So that's
really?
Yeah.
He's Tom Waits it?
Yeah.
Tom Waits it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we'll see him. I think it's next year that movie comes out. So we'll get a chance to see him on the big screen, which is incredible. He plays in Reno a lot, which is infuriating because we're just come down here, man. Come play in Vegas. I got a backyard. We could put a little stage up. we'll figure something out. So we're waiting with bated breath for Prof to hit Vegas, and we're going to get our tickets for that show. So if you haven't had any like new fire artists that you want to add to your playlist, look into Prof. He does use naughty words. Just a heads up for you. But he's very clever, and I appreciate that. And he produces all of the music and all of that stuff. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, super off kilter. If you're like a big fan of Common, like Common really didn't rap about just the streets. He rapped about things about his personal life. If you're a big fan of the Neptunes, other like really interesting rhyme schemes and not using like he doesn't make club hits, you know what I mean? Like whatever he's talking about is going to be odd, eccentric, and whatever he's feeling at the time.
That's true. He's eccentric. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I mean, like very interesting sounds, super cool rhyme schemes, really cool artist. Probably one of my favorite artists of the year. I put Sleep Token up there too. We kind of gotten into Sleep Token this year.
Well, then you got into Sleep Token this year. I've been into Sleep Token for longer than that.
Right.
By the way, for my Wrapped, I just wanted to mention this because I don't even think that you know this. I was, and I don't know if this is something I should brag about, but I was in the 0.5% of the world who spent time listening to Sleep Token on Spotify this year.
This will send you a handbag.
There was 0.5% of the global population on Spotify that listened to Sleep Token more than I did. I don't think I have a problem, but I may need an intervention, to be honest with you.
Try to do one for you every Tuesday.
But I managed to get out of it.
Who didn't? Oh, God, I guess we got to talk about Drake losing all of his popularity.
Oh, it was a bad year for Drake.
Yeah, right. I mean, how many times did we hear one song played over and over? Was it 6 times in a row in LA? Not Like Us, Not Like Us.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about a cultural phenomenon. I don't think we need to get into the nitty gritty of why, but to not address it as a pop culture moment is to not say that one rapper played the same song 6 times in a row and they almost brought down a LA Coliseum. That's pretty large news. Huge amount of beef this year. I mean, Kendrick Lamar. SNL even talks about all that stuff in between everybody.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite moment this year was the Cat Williams interview. Like in January, it was like January 5th or something. He did that interview, and it reverberated truly through the entire year. So if you haven't watched that interview, it's definitely worth some of your time. There's some bombshells, and it reverberated.
Yeah, I don't think this is the correct forum to go through all of that.
No, of course not.
But it is definitely one of the most important pop culture moments of the year. I mean, like it shows how important shows like Joe Rogan and the Cat Williams interview, and you can see the established media in comparison to things just like yourself, Gerald. I think people trust you more than they used to trust Ebert doing 2 thumbs up. You know what I mean? Like you have more skin in your game to your audience compared to skin in the game to your advertiser. So if you really want to see what this year was about, that Cat Williams interview is that. You know what I mean? It's not on the mainstream. It's not Baba Walters in 60 Minutes. It's Gerald Glassford in Pop Culture Cosmos.
Well, again, I'm always interested to see what happens on in the music game because there's always something interesting there. And obviously, like you said, the Kendrick Lamar, the Drake beef, and all that back and forth. It was obviously grabbing the headlines for quite some time here this year. But I noticed you said something about TV as well. And Melinda, you and I talk about TV quite a bit, especially when it comes to the streaming end of things throughout the year. So let us know what on the tube, the tele, that you think really rocked it and didn't rock it this year.
Yeah, on the didn't rock it list, I have the last season of What We Do in the Shadows. I not enjoying it.
Really?
Yep, I know.
You didn't like the matter of fact ending that they had.
Devastated.
I can't believe you said such evil words.
I know. You can take some of my credit away from me if you need to. But
I don't need to.
Sounds like we have a difference of opinion.
Yeah, definitely, I think. But no, I found it kind of No, are they out of jokes? That's what it feels like. So I guess it is time for the show to end. But yeah, it doesn't feel like a satisfactory send off.
No, I don't want to fight about this.
No, please. I mean, that's the point. It's not a fight. It's a discussion.
It's a civil discussion. Yes.
Well, I think really what it was. This is one that is focused on Kyle Robinson. Like okay, you could say
Colin?
that. Yeah, sorry, Colin Robinson. Like you could say that last season was about him, but it really wasn't. It was about him being brought up into parenting.
Oh, it was about
right?
Laszlo.
It was about Laszlo. So you could say that all the seasons have been really about one individual, and this one's about emotional draining vampires. So maybe the episodes are emotionally draining because it's how he can be the most helpful for all the other vampires. Is kind of what I took out of it. Like it feels very centered around Colin. And I think there is some internal sadness with everyone knowing that this is the last we're going to see. The last season of Letterkenny, which also happened this year, was not their best season. It wasn't, by far. But
yeah, but he already had the new hit with Shorzy on his hands, and it was new and delicious, and everybody was praising it. So I can kind of see how Letterkenny ended up sort of taking a bit more of a backseat to Shorzy.
Yeah,
like that I can justify, but what happened? Like I don't think I've even had a giggle.
Yeah, and I mean, admittedly, they had an entire episode just applauding the writers, like super on the nose. It's not the directors, really the writers to get all the. I mean, like they're out a film set talking about somebody else's favorite show. That's the entire episode, and they really do kind of glad hand themselves for the whole episode, which is just not necessary because we already glad hand them. You know what I mean? Like we already love the show, and no one's happy about it going away.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, I can't believe that's your takeaway, man.
Yeah, drivel is what they've given us for their final season. Absolute drivel.
I can give a really interesting applause on the positive. Yeah, that's a hard one, man. I love the show so much. It's hard for me to talk bad about it.
Well, I also love the show so much. Maybe that's why I'm so hard on it.
Right, but let me try to bring an out one that maybe not everyone's watching. Is Dandaran.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you do not need to be an anime fan to enjoy this. This is on a Netflix thing. You don't need Crunchyroll. The animation is gorgeous. The storyline is absurd. You do not need to know anything about any of the cultures.
There's a hot grandma.
Yeah, there's a hot grandma. I mean, that's a selling point right there. It's a lot of fun. It's the animation is great. I feel like the physics of fighting shows, it has fantastic physics. Oh, another one, just in the positive, just came out maybe a month ago. If it's even been a month, A Secret Level.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was just so much fun. It's short. It's episodic. You don't need to watch all. You're not sitting down for 15 episodes for it to make sense. You can lay down with your partner or enjoy it yourself and just get a good 45 to 35 minute romp. Really cool things. Of course, I'm a Warhammer fan, so I love the Warhammer piece.
Episode,
yeah, but like it wasn't just the Warhammer episode. I did enjoy all of it. I also enjoyed it with the games that I wasn't personally a nerd about. I mean, you don't need to get all of the Easter eggs to enjoy what you're seeing. You don't need to get all the references, and you don't need.
They found the balance of that really well.
Right. And then when you realize that you do know so many things about that particular episode that you know a lot about, it's just so wonderfully saturated with subtle nods and wonderful crowd surface, but somehow doesn't choke you with it. Like a complete normie and a complete newbie could enjoy the episode just as much as a star-stunk, bleeding heart fan. So I thought that was a super, super cool thing.
Yeah,
have you seen all the episodes yet? I know because Amazon Secret Level released the final, I think, 8 episodes earlier this week.
I believe we're caught up.
I think so. I don't know if
We've watched 12 of them. Is there 24?
No, there was. I think there was 16.
Oh,
we may have some more to watch then. Happy Day.
Yeah,
Happy Day.
I'll look it up.
You can compare it to what was the name of the Netflix show that kind of did the same thing? It was a series of short Love and Robots.
Love, Death, and Robots. That's who made Secret Level.
Oh, okay. Well,
the creator that made
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Well, then you know what? They've done it again.
Yay!
You know what I mean? Like it's like the Black Mirror of the video game world. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you enjoyed it much more than I did. I will
no
say
kidding.
that.
How come you didn't like it?
It's very uneven. Most of the episodes rely heavily on. They're very samey. A lot of the episodes rely on guns and gunplay, that type of deal. So it just became almost repetitive at times. The Pac-Man episode is one of the worst things I've seen this year, but I'll go more into that.
It was a very strange take on
Yeah,
Pac-Man. Very strange.
We literally turned it off and had a conversation after.
Yeah, we were like paused. So, did you play Pac-Man like that?
Yeah, and the thing is with that, they are going to make a video game out of it. But again, that's me for another day on my list. I thought that that's what you get sometimes with anthology. If it's telling different stories, it doesn't tell them all in the same way or with the same effectiveness. But there was a couple stories that resonated with me, and of course, the Warhammer episode was one of them. So.
Yeah, I think there's only like 30 words of dialogue in that entire Warhammer thing, and if you can tell that gripping of a story, only specifically about the Warhammer piece, with 30 words, that's that's the definition of show don't tell. Yeah. I mean that's I thought at least that episode resonated with me. I thought it was cool. I have one grievance. I think they need to walk away from Titus. I think Titus is this new like entry point for people because of Space Marines 2, Space Marines 1. He's very much in the spotlight right now.
Well, if that's your gateway drug into Warhammer, it's not bad.
You know what? Yeah, don't burn down a bridge just bringing your army towards you. So I mean, like, I'm not going to say that much about it. I'm just saying that maybe I understand their choice, but there's just so many cool characters they could have done, and Titus has gotten a lot of love lately. And maybe they could have gone with Barbarous Cole or a lot of other things. Although seeing a keeper of secrets was something I've always wanted to see, and I loved how they did it. Like,
was that the guy in the box?
No, that's the guy that had the cool blue blood when they cut him apart. The guy going into everyone's head and like bringing out the worst fears. That was super cool. I'd always wondered what it really would look like. And I don't think it gave me a definitive way, but it definitely gave me a way to visually view it in my head. You know what I mean? Like, it was cool. I liked the work that they did on that particular part.
And it's 15 episodes, just to let you know.
Oh, okay. So maybe
I think we may have. Yeah. We'll confirm, but pretty sure that we've watched it all.
Dune was huge this year.
Dune Part 2.
I actually got to see Hans Zimmer in concert this year. So he played the live Dune music, like with the whole orchestra. Super cool. That's just a little side note. But like some of his work with black and white, some of his, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he did a good job. The new Bene Gesserit show.
Bene Gesserit show. Yeah, Bene Gesserit. Dune Prophecy, which I know Melinda was excited for several months, preceding the actual start of the show. So what are your opinions on Dune Prophecy, which just got a clearance for season 2?
Well, I'm glad it's got a clearance for season 2. The problem that I have is that I feel like the show requires undivided attention, and it needs you to really be paying attention.
Robbie, get out of the room. Get out of the room, Robbie.
I think there's a lot of like undercurrent stuff that you don't catch if you're not just focused on solely on the show. I feel like there's layers of story that are there, which is fantastic. But I really need to start watching it at like 7 at night instead of starting to watch an episode at 11 o'clock after I've indulged in some adult, beverages. Yeah. So
chicanery.
So it's one of those things where I've enjoyed it. I know that there's more to the show, and I just have to, find the time and sit down and give it a little bit of undivided, sober attention.
Why do you think that show's been so divisive, though, Robbie? I mean, because the opinions online are very mixed. It did get a season 2, like I said, and that's because it has been watched by
Right.
enough people in the estimation of Max, Warner Brothers, and it was something that it, it was very divisive amongst viewers, very divisive
Yeah.
amongst reviewers, but a lot of them were watching it, which is the point and why it got a season 2.
You know what? I think I understand the division, but I am actually going to champion this show. Because where I think the division lies from is because you have to go pretty deep into the lore books, into the actual Dune books to get past Paul Atreides. I mean, like it does happen. It happens. I think it's like book 4 is when his story stops going, and then you go into his kids, and we find all these things. So like the original Dune fans are looking for Paul's story. You know what I mean? Like that's what they want to know. That's what they want to see. Why are you spending this much money telling me a story that has nothing to do with Paul? This happens so many years before Paul is even in existence. The actual politics and the real world examples that the original author was trying to bring forth are not present within this show. You do see it within the movies that have been created and wonderfully constructed. And you do not see any of those things when it comes to watching the Jesuits become who they are. But here's my defense. I think that's why people don't like it, because it's so far away from the original author's perspective. That's not what he was writing about. He wrote about everything. He has huge bookographies about what he cared about and what he found to be important. And he never went after the Jesuits. He never explained. He never went into high explanation. What he had was always in reflection to the individuals that were having to deal with the Jesuits. I find it interesting, the creation of the Jesuits. I find the entire organization, because he never did address it. Yeah. So I think that people
their stance on like political manipulation and stuff like that too is incredibly interesting. And it really does give you a window into how they were able to consolidate the power that they hold by the time we do get to Paul's story.
Yeah. So that's where my my white champion this would come from. I think people don't like it because it literally has nothing to do with original source material.
Yeah.
It's not in the book. This is all that. You know what I mean? Like they're not pulling this from anywhere. They're not pulling it from the sun. They're not pulling it from him. They're not pulling it from the lost books of Tolkien. Blah 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 blah. This is not a representation of the Silmarillion. This is something completely and utterly fabricated.
Yeah.
But that's where I think that you can make an interesting sequel, because you're not stepping on the lore. You're not stepping on, you know what I mean?
Well, this was a prequel that was set 10,000 years before.
Yeah.
10,000 years before the events of Dune Part 1 and 2, and 10,000 years after this show right now.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So
I guess during the not the machine wars, the robot, whatever the technology wars that they had during that
right
time.
When we got rid of all the thinking machines,
Yes.
And he never touched it. So I think that it can be made. And if you're going to do his book, stay close to his book. This isn't his book, so stay within the margins. Yes, but I think that this actually is interesting. I find it cool, and if you want to tell a new modern story, something that has more to do with today's politics and everything, I think this is the proper avenue to do that within. Instead of taking something that already exists and try to shoehorn something into it, this is taking something that doesn't exist, that is interesting and all of us are curious about, and then being able to put that modern view onto it. So I find it less jarring. For example, like The Witcher, to not spend a lot of time with The Witcher, which is why I signed up to watch your show called The Witcher. In comparison to watching a show about the Bene Gesserits, I want to know about the Bene Gesserits. That's why I'm showing up and spending my time with you.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know, mystical, mysterious organization. Yeah, give me that all day. I want to learn all about that.
Yeah, the creation of the power of the voice.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. And the box, put your hand in the box, like all of that stuff. Fascinating stuff. So hopefully, maybe in 2025, some of the people who have been the naysayers will give in and admit that it's pretty good. It's pretty cool.
Sure. I mean, it is definitely feminist centric, but it's about freaking Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, it's
supposed to be.
It's about them.
I mean, like if you didn't write it from that perspective, you wouldn't be writing it. You know what I mean? Like that'd be like trying to write the Gladiator from from not a masculine perspective. You know what I mean? Like you need to write. It needs to be written that way.
I don't know. I feel like would be kind of interesting.
Well, then,
anyway, yeah. Sorry, we'll devolve into something.
Digress.
Yeah, we will spiral down this if you allow us to. So,
yeah, but what were your thoughts? Like honestly, because I think it is a polarizing show.
It is a polarizing show. I think it's a little slow paced. Would be one thing I would say that works against them. I would have actually involved more of the machine wars to help educate fans on that. But again, that for TV shows, special effects, kind of costly. I think Warner Brothers got cheap there.
Yeah,
sure.
But if you stay with it, the political intrigue, it does get itself going. And the House of Harkonnens to see what their origination of where they were,
that's really cool.
to what they will become in the movies is obviously that's part of the interest there. So so far so okay.
Can I add one more because I really want your particular opinion on this?
Of course.
Do you think that because when they fought against the machines, they had to create people that were able to be a machine in their own head, right? And I've always been super interested because they don't use spice to create that person that can calculate how many hours it takes, how much money they spent to get here. You know what I mean? Like the creation of the astropaths, all these things. I think if they had just added more than just the Bene Gesserits becoming, that they also would have shown the school of how to become that person thinking computer. You know what? And then maybe had some back and forth in between these two different schools, schools of thought, schools of how this new empire works.
Because
sorry, go ahead.
Even in the movies, they haven't really that race of beings that are the supercomputers. They really haven't touched on it too much in the movies as well.
And the author never really gets into. He just says that this is how we did it. All he says is instead of computers, we have guys that have learned how to do this. Just like Bene Gesserits are like they learned how to use the voice. There's not really, Bene Gesserit shows you the development of the voice.
Honestly, I just want to learn the sign language.
Yeah, cool, right? I think it would have been really cool in concert to see the voice being developed and the supercomputers being developed and the conflicts, maybe the love affairs, maybe the whatevers, you know what I mean? Something in there I think could be really cool because that is the unspoken story of the author. Those are two things I'm super interested in, like about his work that he never got to do, his son's never gotten to do. And I find both of those interesting. And I think that would be cool.
Before we head on out, 7 minutes left. Wanted to go ahead and get your thoughts on this. The one thing that you didn't mention yet, Melinda, that you raved and gushed about this year earlier. It's a little TV show on FX, little TV show called Shogun. It earned a massive amount of awards at the Emmys, and deservedly so. Your thoughts on Shogun, and is it still one of the best of 2024 for you?
Honestly, for me, it was the high water mark when it came to television this year. It's so good. And I mean, I don't know what they're going to do for the second season. And I've talked to people who also have thoroughly enjoyed Shogun. And a lot of them are very nervous about what the second season is going to be because the first season's story was told so well and so completely. And it was such a good show. If you have been resistant to watching it, shame on you. And it's what your punishment is to watch Shogun on New Year's Eve. Get it in this year. Because it's worth every single minute that you sit down in front of your television. It's worth every single minute. Like I don't think that there was a wasted episode. There's not a wasted moment in the show. It's a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think I've ever seen something that the dubbing was used as a mechanic to make the story better. Having both languages going because there is a language barrier, and having the script of what he doesn't understand compared to what he's saying compared to what he can speak with his interpreter to what she says to him. Like I tried to watch, we watched like one episode dubbed because they had an option to just have everyone, no reading of script, everyone's just dubbed over, and
it lost the magic.
It lost its power, and that shows you how much intention of the writing that they put into. I thought that it was clean. The actors they chose to go through it.
Oh my god!
Right, there's a lot of power in all of it. It's just very, very strong, very, very strong. It kept me guessing a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Not often do I look at a script and I'm like, okay, this is where they're going.
I mean, some of my best ideas for vampire LARP have come out of that show. I can't wait to boil somebody.
Right? Yeah. Oh my god. And how long did they let that happen? They let that happen. They let us listen to that.
It was like half an episode.
For 30 minutes, we got to hear the screaming of what it is to slowly boil a frog.
Ugh.
Like, I mean, and they didn't shy away from it. When they used the cannon, they didn't like this will change warfare. They showed a bunch of people on horseback that got hit by the cannons with the chains in between them, and just how dishonorable that would be. And they found a way to make where it's going to how horrible of a change of killing a man with a sword is.
Yeah.
And we've seen them kill people with swords, which is already horrible, but we've gotten used to that. And then to use the cannons and show the disrespect to not have two people fight and actually have a reason of honor. I mean, there's so many pieces. It's such a slow show that is packed with minuscule action.
Oh, I didn't find it slow at all. I thought it was well paced. I thought that when the show needed to be pushed forward, there was something that would come into the scene to help push that forward. Like I said, I don't think that they missed a moment. I don't think they wasted a moment in the show. I thought it was wall to wall, just progression, moving forward, and great.
Not waste. I meant small. We had huge plot lines about a hen being hung on a rafter.
Yeah.
Entire episodes, multiple languages were talked about simply a hen. People died. Great characters died. Our fan favorites died because of this damn hen. I think that is taking something so small to explain something so hard and complicated.
But it's another really good look at like the differences between the two cultures. Really is what it was. Yeah. And the way that they found moments to do that were amusing.
Sure.
Every time.
I mean, just using the hen, like the guy was willing to sacrifice his life to bring order to his family that he was technically a slave of.
Right.
You know what I mean? For a whole different culture that he didn't understand. He was willing to take away the evilness. And I think that's such a beautiful pinpoint of the differences of the culture and importances of words. Like I put that up there with Blue Eye Samurai, like just really, really great shows of the year. Oh, and Sister Seven.
So Blue Eyed Samurai was last year. I think we get the new season 2025, don't we?
Yes, year? I believe we do. My guess is at least summer or fall of 2025 before we see it. But absolutely Shogun for me. Just a tremendous experience. 8 of the 9 episodes, which we already talked about, were absolutely perfect in my estimation as well. Yeah. So we won't talk about that 9th episode. We'll just so
that's fair. That's
fair. But it is Melinda and Robbie Ross. You both have been such a great part of what we've done. I cannot thank you enough for everything you've done for me and for the Pop Culture Cosmos for this entire year. But any last thoughts, you two, before we head on out?
Yeah, right now, just go ahead and Google Prof, P-R-O-F.
Yeah. You will like them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of which should be the first one. The first one that pops to mind is it's a song called "Vulnerable God," but it's one of more of his like more serious ones though. I'm trying to think of
Potatoes, tomatoes.
Anyway, he's always releasing new music. If you find him on social media and follow him, he's constantly and forever making new music, and he puts clips up on his social media, and then like 3 days later the song is released. So he's very, very active. He doesn't wait to do a whole album. He just drops stuff all the time, and I love it. Every song is a new example in really creative wordplay. And what I love about him is he doesn't care a whole lot about how people perceive him. I don't think.
No,
I think
he's
that
an ugly man. He talks weird words, and he just thinks everyone should love him, and they do. He's awesome.
Yeah,
He's fearless.
It's good stuff. Man. That's what it is. It's the fearlessness of it that I appreciate.
Yeah. I got one random thing, and only because this is the pop culture cosmos, so I know a lot of people are into video games. So that means probably a lot of people are programmers. You don't need to be a programmer. I'm not a programmer at all. His name is Thor. You could find him. He has a lot of YouTube shorts. He talks about the gaming world. He talks about, programming video games, and kind of very much what we do here. I find him to be a positive influence, especially for our younger audience. He is younger, but he's working his way up, and I do find his advice to be that you don't need to be a programmer. I think that is just some really positive stuff. So if you're looking to go out into the new world and you're already with us, keep on watching our stuff. But I think that his name is Thor. He's a big, tall guy with a very deep voice. I think that you'll enjoy him as well. Like I said, you don't have to. It's not just questions about coding. He's a new voice in this thing, and I've never heard him say anything that wasn't positive.
With that, it is, of course, the best and worst of pop culture for 2024 from Melinda and Robbie Ross. You two now have a great rest of 2024. You spend it together, spend it lovingly, and just make sure Robbie is not the one figuring out those group DMs for you. Okay?
Well, I'm not supposed to push buttons.
Oh, he tried so hard.
Oh my God.
There's Gerald. Still wandering around the parking lot right there. Yes, around the refurbishing. That's closed Applebee's. Yes.
It's so funny because I was oblivious.
Oh, the best part about that was I was 10 minutes from like 3.5 weeks of not blowing the secret. So now I'm in the kitchen hiding behind a cupboard. It's gotta be at Warp Springs. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I'm glad it worked out. Yeah, I'm so glad that you two had such a great time together. I'm glad you two have had many memories in 2024, and I'm wishing you both many, many more great memories in pop culture in 2025, along with what you both do for us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos.